Personally, I find it really hard to understand. Why wouldn't you vote yes? If the people of Scotland don't vote yes on September the 18th, 2014, we'll be the first country in a line of over 140 nations, including over 50 now in the Commonwealth, which, when given the opportunity, declined the offer of independence. Why wouldn't we vote yes? Just look what we'd get for starters. We'd get a government elected by the people of the country it serves. We'd get full control over how we spend the taxes we raise. We'd get maximum benefits from our natural resources. Some people, though, are scared of what we'd lose. But let me tell you what we'd lose. We'd lose the most powerful and dangerous weapons in the world. We'll lose an insatiable maw, sucking the financial benefits of North Sea oil and gas to the south, spent on projects of little benefit to the people of Scotland. But most immediately, we're going to lose a government which seems hell-bent on grinding its most vulnerable citizens into the ground. An unholy alliance of Tory, Lib Dem and amazingly Labour, a party which has been the party of choice for most Scots voters for the past 50 years, has formed around their self-titled Project Fear, says it all, to tell us that we shouldn't think like this. And our politicians are queuing up to tell us that we can't, we shouldn't, we mustn't vote yes, for a whole spectrum of reasons. We're told independence is a bad idea because we're better together, despite evidence to the contrary, including Westminster, via the Ministry of Defence, actively blocking oil and gas exploration off the west coast of Scotland. We're told independence is a bad idea because we're genetically incapable of making political decisions, despite the evidence to the contrary. Scotland's political history is as long and as proud as that of any modern country. We're told independence is a bad idea because we can't have a currency union, or join the EU, or join NATO, or be a destination of choice for business, despite a range of people with international significance telling us that none of this is true. Not that you would know that. You wouldn't know there are counter-arguments to Project Fear, because the BBC, Scottish Television, and virtually all of the printed media in Scotland are all busy telling us that independence is a bad idea. The truth is, following a yes vote, Scotland will be returning, after a 300-year experiment with England, Wales and Ireland, to the natural state of nationhood, and as a normal country, Scotland will have precisely no fewer and no more issues to face than any other nation. The arguments for a no vote are nothing more than words of mass distraction, smoke and mirrors just designed to take our collective eye off the ball. The same tired arguments were all raised prior to devolution and the reinstatement of a Scottish Parliament, but the sky didn't fall, and the businesses didn't leave. And actually, things are better here for many people than they would be if they lived elsewhere in the UK. Don't forget, we have free prescriptions and an NHS still relatively free from privatisation. We've got free tuition fees, and we've got a government committed to minimising the worst effects of the bedroom tax, just to highlight a few of the current benefits of our limited self-governance. Imagine if we had full control of our own affairs. I understand the fear factor which is restraining folk from backing their own country. It's a big decision. The biggest decision that Scotland's had to make in 300 years, and that's the point. There have been other big decisions in much more recent history, of course, like deciding will we or won't we go to war. Witness Margaret Thatcher's cynical election-winning Falklands War, and Tony Blair's capitulation to the will of the USA in Iraq. Decisions like, should we or shouldn't we nationalise our oil and gas? Did you know that except for Iraq, the UK is the only country in the world not to have nationalised its oil industry? And decisions like, how well or otherwise do we look after our old, our sick, our vulnerable people? It's going to be big decisions to make in the future too. Decisions like, do we or do we not want to continue to have nuclear weapons based within 50 miles of our biggest city? Decisions like, do we want to allow the creeping privatisation of our NHS like is happening in the rest of the UK? Decisions like, do we or do we not want to stay in the EU? And decisions also like, do we or don't we want to continue to be known as the fourth most unequal country in the world? Until now, such decisions have been made for Scotland by Westminster governments elected through a system which, no matter how many Scots vote for the opposite, it will always return a government based on the wishes and values of the population of the southeast of England. I have no objection to the people of the southeast voting whichever way they see fit for their own circumstances. However, no matter which way we vote, Scotland always gets the government that other people elect. The bottom line is that what's good for Scotland isn't always seen as good for the rest of the UK. The referendum on independence offers the people of Scotland the opportunity for the first time in 3 centuries to be masters of their own destiny. In the words of the late American author Robert Anton Wilson, the future exists, first in the imagination, then in the will, and finally in reality. Many people in the Yes campaign are imagining a country we can be proud of, and a better future for ourselves, our children, and generations to come. I urge every person in Scotland eligible to vote in the referendum of the 18th of September 2014 to make this vision a reality. Vote yes.